Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games from the Game Pass collection. Bring you three unique perspectives of varying skill range. I am the evil genius of this episode, Andrew. With me, our evil idiot, Keith.
Hello.
And our evil in training, Liz.
Hey guys.
And this week was a listener request. We played Evil Genius 2 by Rebellion Studios. So thank you so much, Clark, for recommending that we play Evil Genius 2. Evil Genius 2 is a spy-fi lair builder where you are the criminal mastermind. Construct your own base, train your minions, defend your operations from the forces of justice, and achieve global domination. So going around, Keith, was this a game or pass for you?
I think it actually, despite being a builder, kind of stems over into a game for me. It's not something that I was like super into, but I actually didn't hate my time with it, and I felt like it in some ways was pretty intuitive. Well, it definitely had its moments where I was like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do here. So yeah, I think overall it's still a game for me.
For me, it's a game. These types of games always stress me out at first, and I feel really bad for Andrew this week because I had a billion questions, which I know is your favorite, Andrew. But I find them really addicting. Like once I get in the flow, I love it. And that's what happened this week. And I also like too with games like this, whenever something wasn't going great or something wasn't happening, I knew there was a solution and I knew that I was doing something wrong. And I just had to
just reload an old
figure it
save?
out. But I love that there was a solution for like all of my problems. I just needed to actually think about it.
Yeah, and so for me, this is a game as well. You know, as people have been listening to this podcast, Keith is beyond obsessed with roguelikes. For me, I love base builders. As I've said before, one of my all-time favorite genre is real-time strategy games, but you don't really get those on console. I mean, I played them on a PC, but to me, base builder games are kind of like a more relaxing version of a real-time strategy game. I love these styles of games because they're, for the most part, pretty relaxing. You normally can just like not really focus too heavy on it because you normally can pause or fast forward time. These types of games are like my editing games. Whenever I'm editing the podcast, I usually play something simple on the side. In this game, I was actually playing for quite a while before Clark recommended we play it. And because it's really easy, you can just kind of boot it up, do some tasks here and there, let time go by to finish construction. But yeah, I enjoy the environment of this game. It's very satirical of, you know, kind of poking fun of like 007 and these really characteristic evil geniuses are trying to do like take over the world. Overall, the story is not great, but the gameplay itself is very fun. It's not a super micromanagey base building either. A lot of it's automated, which is great. But yeah, so getting into the story, as I said, you are playing one of 4 evil geniuses, 5 if you get the DLC. Each one has their own strengths and weaknesses and kind of have their own ultimate doomsday weapon. So when you start the game, you normally start off as, I forget, you played him. I already forget his name.
I played Maximilian. Yeah, did
the
Maximilian,
default setup. That's his name. Yeah. He's obsessed with gold, so he's creating a machine that turns the world into gold. And you are essentially just building up your base, and you know you're trying to defend it, build traps throughout the corridors, train troops to defend your base because the forces of justice are sending agents to try to take you down. But yeah, overall the story is really kind of simple, but surprisingly, there's a lot of dialogue in this game.
There is mostly a lot of it's kind of throwaway. Though I think you're right, and maybe I didn't get enough of it. I don't know, but all of like the minion stuff, it's like, oh, you're not a very strong minion. Yes, I am. Boom, I shot you. Or just like, I don't know, some really kind of cheesy back and forth.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of it. You're right. I kind of like, I don't know, some of them are a little bit cheeky, I guess. I liked the ones that were more like the side dialogue, like the person who was talking to you, like narrating you through the game or helped you through the game. I don't know.
Oh, the tutorial guy?
Yeah, I don't know. I liked that guy.
Are you talking about like the AI system that just gives you warnings?
No, the like tutorial guy. I liked him.
Okay.
Thought he was kind of funny.
I feel like the hardest part for me with the story is that you're the bad guy. And it's always interesting when we play a game where you either have the option to be the bad guy or you definitely are the bad guy. And when we first started playing, I didn't want to kill people. I felt bad.
I want to already call you out on this, Liz. So I think it's
Oh
funny.
my gosh.
During the tutorial, you're asked to execute your minions because it's a mechanic. You can just execute your minions and it makes everyone else around you work faster. When Liz started to get deserters, she's like, I want to kill this guy. How do I kill this guy, Andrew? He's running away from me.
No, because they were stealing the gold. Like, I thought that I was supposed to. Like, it's one thing to quit your job, but if you're stealing from your company, it's like, come on. And then also, you're clearly evil because you're working for him anyway.
Yeah.
So for me, that's why I just, And
So-
also, I didn't have the brainwashing tool yet. And I wanted my gold. There were times where, like, I just had so much money. But at the beginning, I kind of struggled a bit to get into the flow of making the money. Like, I didn't realize I should add so much to my casino and things like that. Like, there's a lot of, like, little things. And games like this, I always want to start over because I'm like, if I had done this at the beginning or if I had organized this differently and that way I don't have to reorganize this. And so for me, like, it took me a while to actually get things where I wanted them to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's generally what I like about base building games. They teach you to be efficient.
I just want to go back to something Liz said for a second, and I want to make sure that I understood the words
Oh,
correctly.
jeez.
So, if you quit your job, fine, cool. But if you by chance steal anything on your way out the door, your employer is entitled to murder you in
No.
cold blood.
What I'm saying-
I'm just, that's what I heard. I'm just making sure I understood
I'm sorry, I
the
thought you
words
were
said.
asking a question. Why are you saying no to me responding?
Well, because I just
Excuse
want to make sure
you.
you were clear that that's
As
what I
I was
heard.
saying before you were trying to shush me, you work for an evil corporation. You are evil. You have secrets of the company. Like, some of the people that are deserting are not entry-level minions. You know what you're getting into.
That is true. I mean, how many
I
people do you
felt-
think Apple's killed?
Did you have them sign an NDA?
Yeah, I did, actually.
I don't know.
And they were like, no, I'm not going to do that. They were shouting that as they were leaving the building. So,
I'm gonna go tell everyone your secret.
yeah, exactly. But I really did feel bad about killing the agents because, like, you're killing the good guy. It's the same when we were playing that deer simulator where it's like you're wreaking havoc and the police are coming to get you. And then you kind of have to shoot at the police. And I'm like, oh, this feels so wrong.
Again, murdering your own employees in cold blood, but your enemies, oh guys, they're just trying to do their job. They don't deserve that.
No, because people that work for you, if they get to a certain level, they know what you're doing, and they are doing evil things. The agents that are breaking in are trying to stop evil, so they are the good guys.
So
I don't think Keith gets the story.
Oh no, I get the concept of your being evil, but you are not.
I don't hear you saying you had a hard time killing people. I didn't hear that from you once.
Because I'm the protagonist in this game, and I don't.
The bad guy.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
you,
my job.
you don't know. You could actually be a good guy.
This is also true.
This is an alternate universe of the world. These forces of justice could actually be like tyrannical and controlling people.
The Mass Effect, the good guys weren't as good as you thought.
Yeah, you don't know.
Cool.
But you guys are bringing up a point. One of my complaints I feel like I had with this game, especially with its story. I don't know about you guys, but I really wanted this game to be more comedic. I felt like it would dabble, it would like dip its toes in it a little bit, and here's a little kind of goofy joke, but it was also very dark because you are playing an evil genius, and there are moments where like people are begging for their lives in the story, and you're executing them. So it's
The
like
body bags, like that was one of the times that people were deserting, and I couldn't figure it out. Like somebody had destroyed my incinerator, and
so it's just bodies all over your lair.
and I was like, Andrew, why aren't people picking up the bodies? And you're like, oh, they'll get to it. And I'm like, no, they're not. And you didn't believe me. And then I was like, oh, because you really only need like one, maybe two.
Yeah.
And yeah, so people were like losing their minds, and it got pretty dark.
Yeah, that was my thought when the first time it has you execute one of your employees, is that I was like, boy, that was like, it wasn't even like kind of funny how it did it. It literally just, your character just whips out a gun in the middle of a hallway, and everyone kind of runs and panics. Like that's it's not cheeky or fun at all. It's not light.
Or in ours, like, well, mine that I was playing, I assume, Keith, you're doing the same one with the gold. Like, all the people around you are being turned into gold randomly, and that doesn't freak you out that you might be next? You know?
Why would it bother you? I did not get that far, I don't think. Yeah, this is, me in builder games.
You never built your doomsday device?
No, I did not.
All right.
Can't confirm.
So Keith's, I think, still in the tutorial.
I am not in the tutorial. I may not be far past it, but I
But
I have all of the tutorial achievements, Andrew. I did.
Okay. But yeah, like, I don't know. Did you guys want more comedy? Because yeah, like this was kind of felt like it took me out of the game of. I'd be kind of laughing at some of the humor, like, you know, you get some of the loot, like you get a little like mechanical pig your minions can ride. Like there's some things that are kind of funny. And then yeah, as you said, then you're executing people in the middle of the hallway. Don't get me wrong, this game's not gory or anything like that, but you know, you people just instantly turn into body bags, but it's still, you know, relatively dark.
I see. Maximilian to me seemed like Gru, and I think that's why I was expecting it to be so much lighter than it is. Because you know, I picture him like Gru, and I have minions, so I'm thinking I have the. I know they don't.
Yellow.
I know. Well, they're no. Yeah, but they're not really minions, so I know that, but they looked enough that I don't know. I expected more comedy than I got. So
I haven't seen any of the movies, so for me, like, I didn't go into it with any type of expectation. But I'm really curious, like, what humor you're kind of looking for with, like, the day-to-day, you know, people walking around elements, like, outside of him talking. Like, what kind of humor are you looking for?
So another builder game that's on Game Pass that I've played quite a bit of is 2 Point Hospital. Which is
yeah, I've seen you play that.
Another game I was going to recommend. So that one is supposed to be like you're building a hospital, but it's goofy on how they do, like how the diseases are. So someone will have like barking syndrome or something like that, and they literally are a human with like a dog tail and dog ears, or someone's lightheaded. Their head literally is a light bulb. Like it's just kind of that's very satirical and just kind of funny and humorous on like how they're making fun of the illnesses that the people have. And so, like, I think it would be great to have, I don't know, more humor of that. Like your PA system that's constantly warning you about things. I think it'd be funny for them to make jokes because in 2 Point Hospital, the PA system makes jokes. We'll say things like, you know, please don't stick things in your body, kind of thing like that. We don't appreciate it. Like, I don't know, just weird, goofy things. And it just kind of made listening to the game more enjoyable. And because it was kind of jokes being cracked here and there. But I don't know, because even with like the dialogue, because another thing too, this game's called Evil Genius, but honestly, your genius is an idiot. Like,
Well, no, he hires geniuses to do the thinking for him.
well, he obviously creates the doomsday device, but like he's always just like, why is my machine broken? It's like, you're a genius and you don't know why machines break. Like, what?
it's not his job to fix those.
A lot of his dialogue is just like, man, how do you dress yourself?
But I mean, he is a genius in that he can manipulate people to work for him and do evil things. So I mean, there's different types of smarts. There's street smarts, you know, math
He grew up
smarts.
in the hood.
There is something to be said for that. So I have a question then: is would you have liked it better? Because you already said you would have liked more humor. What if they went the other way? Like, obviously not super realistic graphics because it's still a top-down, you know, whatever kind of base builder. But if they made it more realistic graphics, like very serious dialogue, like it was actually like it almost made it kind of tough to make those decisions where like, yeah, you have to like assassinate somebody and it's much more serious. Would you have liked it better then, or would it have been weird then?
It would have been a completely different game. Because, I mean, this game obviously is taking elements. It's obviously very influenced by 007 and the James Bond films. Because a lot of these geniuses that you play as are obviously very kind of caricatures of, you know, famous generic like supervillains. And so like if you made it like super, I don't know, gory, I guess, and the traps are like sawing people in half, like that would be a completely different game.
Yeah, I was gonna say almost like StarCraft style graphics. Maybe not the same quality, but that style of realism.
Do you remember back in PlayStation 2? I can't remember if it was you, or I remember you played it with us. There was another base builder game where you are an evil genius or like some sort of like demon lord, and you had to create a base, and heroes were coming in to try to kill you, and you had to build traps. Do you not remember this game? I know you played it because I specifically remember watching you play it in our living room back in the day. I can't remember the name of it. But that was a game that was supposed to be kind of more realistic and dark and gritty because you're setting people on spike traps and stuff like that. And
I remember one like that for 360.
On 360, you might be thinking of Orcs Must Die. I know that was a pretty popular one.
Yeah, Orcs Must Die. That there was one where you were like mages too, but that one you weren't the bad guy.
That was Dungeon Keeper. No,
something like that. I know what you're thinking of, or we're on the same page at least.
yeah. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but if I said I remember it.
We're really showing off our video game knowledge here.
With how much you play video games, it's amazing that you remember. Because there's so many games that we've played in the last 3 years. I couldn't tell you one word in the title.
Oh, I have a ton of weird, random childhood memories. My family always makes fun of me for it. They're always just like, Andrew will remember some weird thing.
I remember when you told me one, because it involved food, of course I remember it. But you were like chewing on a piece of meat for like a really, really long time.
Yep.
And then you eventually asked your parents if you could spit it out.
Yeah, I chewed it for 3 hours. Because my parents wouldn't let me leave the dinner table until I ate it. But I was at least chewing it, so they let me leave. But they were like yelling at me that I had to swallow it. It was just pure gristle. They chewed it for like 2-3 hours.
The thing is, your mom's a good cook. So I'm like...
Doesn't mean we bought good meat.
This is a valid point. I was going to say, I remember, at least I remember third party through Aaron telling the story of you just saying that doesn't make any sandwich. And now to this day, I still say that doesn't make any sandwich. And nobody knows why I say it. And I'm one of the few people who does, but I say it.
I remember where that story originated too.
Okay, do share.
I mean, it's not that interesting of a story.
I know how that story happened.
I was a kid. We were eating I specifically remember we were eating at Friendly's, RIP Friendly's. My dad was saying a joke of a waiter came up to me and asked me, "How'd you find your sandwich?" And he said, "Oh, I looked under the bread and there it was." And I remember I did not understand that joke as a kid. So I was just staring at it for the longest time. And whatever reason, it just popped in my head when I said, "Dad, your jokes don't make much sandwich." And I was like, wait.
That's really cute.
And still to this day, my family makes fun of me for that. But anyway.
And apparently me.
We've gone way too over. We've already like 17 minutes of this game and barely talked about this game. But yeah, so overall, the story isn't that interesting. But I will say, you guys, the game can be kind of long, your playthroughs. So the story will change slightly depending what evil genius you have. I've beaten it with 2 people, Maximilian and Ivan. So Ivan obviously is like the Russian kind of evil genius. And his story is actually a little bit different because you can actually recruit one of the secret agents to be one of your henchmen. And like you have kind of different things. So as I'm watching Liz play Maximilian again, and I forgot, his missions are annoying because you have to try to convince, the bad guys to leave booby traps in your base. Like it's part of your mission. And that's actually really hard to do.
Yeah, because you have to turn off all of the traps and then also turn off like you can select floors or like different areas where they just instantly try to distract people or kill people, whatever it is. And you turn them all off and then they're still just like, they keep doing it. And I'd actually like click on each individual one and say, leave this person alone, leave this person alone. And they did not leave them alone. So it's just like, it is really frustrating.
Yeah. So this game is more of a macro management. So a lot of the stuff is like automated. So your minions will just kind of naturally do their thing. Like they just fulfill their own needs, attack when, they see enemies. Like they just do their own thing. You can't really command your minions at all, which is kind of a pro and a con. It's nice not having to constantly click on everything.
But if you see an enemy and everyone's just walking by them and you're like clicking on them, like kill this or capture this person, and like everyone is just walking by them, walking by the room
because they're in disguise.
I just want to be able to like point at it,
Same with like of the opposite end. Sometimes I just want my minions to go away, leave that guy alone. Yeah. So because there's an achievement for the super agent who specifically steals your gold to have her succeed.
Oh. Yeah,
like you'd think, it's a super agent, she's got to be really good at it. And it's actually a really hard achievement to get. I think only 0.5% of people have it.
Can you like send all of your minions off to die somewhere? Like
that's literally what I'm like trying to do.
What about to
literally have generic minions.
I was gonna say, what if you just like when you saw she was coming, if you removed all the beds and lockers, would they like quit?
I don't know.
Because your level counts or your cap is based on that. So
I think people would eventually get upset that they couldn't sleep and then
They
flee.
quit. Yeah, and then your base would be empty. She could succeed.
But I think you'd have to. It wouldn't be like an instant.
Yeah, you'd have to like kind of have a good idea of when she was coming to like plan for it. And, like shut down your base basically.
Is she one of the people that you can lure to your base?
Yeah.
Then yeah, that would be really easy because she'd arrive within like a couple minutes.
Wait, how
There
do
you go.
pronounce it? Lure. Lure.
Lure.
What did I say?
You said lure.
Lure.
Did I? I'm sorry.
I knew what you meant, Liz.
Once upon
Andrew's
a
just
time,
being
I
a
was
bully.
an English major, so words are hard. Andrew makes fun of the way I say so many different things.
English is a fluid
language.
language. Don't be shamed by him, Liz. Andrew says so many words wrong. It's not even funny.
It is very true. English is like my second language.
What's your first?
Whatever he
Jerk.
speaks.
But yeah, getting into the basic gameplay of Evil Genius 2, like I said, it's kind of a top-down base builder. You have multiple floors of your lair. You are essentially just designing blueprints of rooms in which your minions will construct the rooms. You have to populate these rooms with specific items, such as, the power generator rooms needs power generators. The medical bay needs medical beds. The locker room needs lockers and beds for your minions to rest. So all you're mostly doing is designing your lair, and all the minions just go running around and constructing it for you. You send your minions off to, a giant world map to do schemes and missions for you, whether it be steal gold or do whatever side quest you're doing or main quest you're doing. And your end goal is to essentially just take over the world. Depending on what super genius you have is what doomsday weapon you're building. But overall, though, what did you guys think of the gameplay?
I actually kind of wish. I mean, the tutorial was pretty long, but I still felt like I didn't know enough. Like, for instance, like when I was playing, I would ask you like, "Oh, I just trained, like martial artists and or biologists," and it's like, how many of each do I need? There's so many people that you unlock, or like different types of minions. I think I did like 12 or something. Yeah, I think that sounds right. And I didn't know how many of each to have, like how many valets, how many socialites. And same with like Andrew told me that if you find like those briefcases, you're supposed to destroy them. And so for me, I just I felt like there were so many little things I didn't know. Or sometimes so I was like trying to get a biologist. I'm like, I don't know why this isn't working. Like I built like the training station and everything. And then I realized, oh, I have to like adjust it. And it already told me that. That was one of the things that it did tell you. But I feel like so much information that I kind of get lost a little bit sometimes. And that's why I paused the game so much. Andrew's making fun of me.
Oh my gosh.
If people were invading and I was in the middle of constructing something elaborate, like a whole new room with, different machines or reorganizing something, or I would oftentimes, if I needed a lot of money, I'd go to the world map and just get a bunch of things going at once. And because I was constructing a lot, I needed more money. So for me, I would just temporarily pause it and then start it again. And
temporary?
Oh my gosh.
90% of the time, your game is paused.
I find these games stressful, and it made me relax. It made me enjoy the game more. So for me, that worked for me. At the same time, though, I probably would have progressed a lot faster. I think it said I put 17 hours into the game, and I didn't beat it.
No.
Doesn't it automatically pause when you go to the world map?
No, you can change the options.
Yeah.
In the options,
you're right.
Which
I think I
didn't.
noticed. I remember that now. I remember seeing the time go down on the scheme timers. So yeah, never mind. It wasn't paused when I was there.
In the option menus, you have options to have the game pause every time you're building something, or pause anytime you open the world map. So it actually has a good amount of options for you if you want to take the game a little slower.
Which I
was gonna say, I think I only had it pause automatically, at least when I went into build mode. That was I did like being able to pause it for that. But overall, I felt like if you ran it on the normal speed, it actually ran almost boringly slow. So for the most part, I think I could have done without that, but I did still use the pause on build. I just thought it was easier, mostly because minions and stuff get in the way. So
I did the pause on everything for probably less than an hour, and I thought it was too slow. I like to hit the left stick, and I did it a lot, but
For me, I very rarely use pause. 98% of my playtime is on, as Keith said, the fast mode. Yeah, if you play on normal speed, it seems slow. This is always a thing when it comes to base builder games. They always give you a speed up time feature. I always want it faster. I'm waiting for a base builder game to come out with a DLC where it's like 5 times speed for $5. I always actually will guarantee you I would probably buy that DLC just to get a faster game time. Like so many base building games I play, like the most recent one that I absolutely love, Stellaris. I always play that in the fastest speed, and I'm like, this game needs to go faster. Give me a faster time. It just always irritates me. But yeah, I very rarely would pause. As far as base builder games go, I find this to be one of the least stressful. Because the fact that, like I said, everything is just automated. You know, if your minions die, you're naturally replenishing your generic minions. And, you know, if you have specialty minions, those generic minions are naturally training to become those minions. Like, you just kind of set these meters and everything just kind of runs on its own. And it's great. But that also being said, too, it's not like you're not doing anything. That's another thing that impresses me with this game. Like, as much as it is kind of automated, I still felt like I'm doing quite a bit. That's generally another big issue I have with some base builder games. Because a lot of times you're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs waiting for research to happen or whatever. I did not feel like that happened too much in this game. I did not feel like where I was just like, I gotta wait.
You were constantly getting upgrades too, or different like things to build. So like all of a sudden I had like 3 or 4 new cafeteria things I could build. Actually more than that, I think.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, well, I'll work on this while I wait for research. And then there's so many different objectives, and you can have things constantly going with the world map and stuff. I found it kind of stressful having the game going, especially like the first half of my gameplay where my people weren't as trained, weren't as strong. I didn't have as many traps and stuff because with research, which obviously was going slower because I was pausing it, but I didn't really do a lot of traps. That wasn't really my focus. And I just want to point out too, Andrew, that like I feel like in this game you are so organized with like, because I mean I don't play these games, so I thought I was being pretty organized, and you're like, give me your controller, like I need to.
And I cleaned up your mess.
Yes, but I think it's funny because I feel like I'm really organized, or I organize things a lot. Like in real life.
Oh, that's 100% true. My high school backpack, I literally just shoved all my papers on the outer area of my backpack. Like I never had organization skills.
You have the mentality of like, so we'll go for like a week long like trip to visit family like a couple times a year. He would pack like 5 minutes before we left if he could. And I'm like, no, like we have a toddler. That's not how things go. And so I do it. So I just think it's funny that I'm the organizer in real life, and in this game you're just like, no. Just sit back. Let me.
It's unfortunate he's not here in this episode because Dave, who's been on this podcast, always loves sharing this story of. We were once going on a trip overseas. We were going to Jamaica. He got to my house to pick me up. He said I literally crawled out of bed, saw a pile of clothes on the floor, scooped it in the back, and went, "All right, I'm good. Let's go."
All right. So if they're on the floor, are they dirty?
Believe every word of that.
They probably weren't. This was back in high school. I had
they
an
probably
organization
weren't clean either.
Right.
Yeah, probably.
Where's the nearest laundromat? Like things like that, like stress me out. Like if I was like, how long are you going to Jamaica?
Oh, we were there for a week.
Your parents had a washer and dryer in the house. There was no laundromat necessary.
I'm sure they were clean. This is high school.
Do?
Let's be honest.
That is true. Your mom probably washed your clothes for you.
Back in high school, everyone had a clean and dirty pile on your floor. Let's be honest here.
No, see, like I have like I wore it for like an hour or so. It's not really dirty, but like everything dirty goes in the hamper. But for me, like laundry, because like I feel like one of those people that are like, I walked uphill both ways 2 miles to go to school and everything. But like stuff like that stresses me out because growing up, we didn't have a car and we didn't have a washer and dryer. We had to physically carry, and this is like all the way through high school, physically carry all of our like dirty laundry to the laundromat. So you're like, oh, I'm going to Jamaica. No, like I would be like, I need at least 9 pairs of underwear. What if I get soaked? Like, what if I fall into a river twice or something? Or
scooped in the bag and I was good.
It sounds wildly accurate. So I think what I liked about the building aspect of this game is, well, for one, you guys both said it, is there's like a drip feed aspect to all the new things you're getting, things you can build. But I sometimes like placement of items and I don't know, laying out a room like stresses me out. I don't like to think about designing things, but where each of the items you place in a room has like the little markers for the feet where it can be accessed from, so you have that better picture. Like when I built it's stupid, it's basic, but when I was building the barracks, I was like, I had the beds all laid out along the wall. I had 2 lockers facing each other down the whole center of the room. Like it looked like a designed room, and the I don't know, just the way that the items build. I guess I don't know the right way to say it. It kind of forced me into doing that in a way.
Well, Andrew, because a perfect example is like when things are like back to back. I would do them like individually. He's like, no, just do a long line so you don't have to keep flipping them around with the feet. So that was like a noob kind of thing that I did, where I was like
constantly
doing them
clicking
individually.
Y to rotate things. Click, 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 click.
I
It's just like,
love
Liz,
that
just
you
make a
have
row.
that.
Just make a row, Liz.
I love that you can't handle like certain noises and stuff. You're, like,
Because you were building a lot of lockers. Or no, it was your vault. So it was all the gold pallets you were making. It was just like, just build lines. You know what you're doing. You haven't
and
decided.
instead, you should have just been happy that I was just making the money that I needed more of them. You know.
Well, like that's the thing though, is if this were most builder games, I would have made a tiny 8x8 room, and I would have just made, 8 beds stacked in a row, and it would have been this tiny, ugly little square in the corner of my base, and I would have done that 4 or 5 more times. But instead, I was like, I looked at it and I was like, this looks like it's built out. I was like making mazes or corridors and hallways that actually turned and went down different ways just at different points because I could. I had pass-throughs in rooms. I was designing. I felt cool.
Speaking of designing, I always think it's funny that Liz was also very into making sure she had like bathrooms. Bathrooms are absolutely not necessary. I think it even listed as such a core item, and Liz is like, my minions need bathrooms. I'm like, Liz, I have no bathrooms.
I did like a bunch of like coffee machines and stuff like that.
Did you really?
Well, because I didn't. It actually helps with the hearts or whatever. And for me, a lot of the stuff that I was focusing on with research at the beginning was not towards my minions. So their happiness came second.
And that's why they were all leaving your base.
No, it was because of the incinerator.
She was shooting them at the door.
Oh, are you quitting? No, you're not.
Again, the only person who said that they felt bad about killing people.
But clearly you didn't.
I didn't have to feel bad about it. I didn't go out of my way to murder my employees. I'm a good boss.
But you know what? These people are evil. I'm doing evil business. That's just the game that I'm playing.
I mean, I suppose this podcast is never going to grow, though. No one will work for us.
But yeah, a big aspect of the base building too is you're setting up traps for the incoming agents. Did you guys use the traps much?
I wanted to do the Shark Tank and the bees, but I didn't want to, there's so much stuff to research. And so I did the punching one, the magnetic one, the electric one, which is annoying because it killed your people if they were too close. I'm trying to think if I did anything else.
All the traps did friendly fire if they were in the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I noticed it with that one. I think that those were the main ones. Like I said, research-wise, I really wasn't focusing on that. Like I wanted to upgrade like the power, what are they called? The power cells or whatever. There's so many things I wanted to focus on other than traps and minions.
I did not use the traps that much either. I don't find them very effective. I mean, I think they can be. I just never really did it. I just let my minions blast them with guns, and that was kind of it. And
as you progress in the game, like your team should be able to take care of business.
Yeah. But I will say, if you're playing on the hard difficulty, traps are kind of a necessary thing.
Yeah, I could see that. I was going to say, too, I think they seem more, and not to like jump ahead, but just as maybe a preview, it seems like a lot of it was more for achievement purposes. Like,
oh, yeah. There's a lot of trap achievements.
Exactly. So like it kind of seemed like that was one of the folks to do it, and we'll get into that. That's a whole different thing. But no, I didn't use a ton of traps myself. I don't know. I let my guys and our gals take care of business. Working overtime.
I didn't feel like you were going to do that. But yeah, I got to say, like, overall, the gameplay of Evil Genius 2 is just so simplistic. I do kind of want to ask you guys. So you both finally completed the tutorial. I know, Liz, you were kind of complaining about it, though. Do you wish the game explained more? Because personally, for me, like, when it comes to base builder games, I always generally like this kind of tutorial where they teach you the basics, but they don't teach every single detail. This definitely is a game where it's trial by fire. You're meant to just play with the mechanics and come up with your own ideas and designs and really just kind of grow. So I don't know. Did you wish it had more of a tutorial?
I mean, what I said before, like the little things, like the suitcases, that is important.
It isn't.
You told me that more agents came.
If like an agent was able to grab it So like the investigators will
Oh, they
leave
usually
briefcases.
weren't right in the entryway.
Yeah, they're listening devices, and so they have to come and retrieve that listening device. If they retrieve it, you're gonna get attacked by a bunch of troops.
But I will say, even stairs, like one thing that really frustrated me at the beginning is I need more space. Like, because I mean, this is before I upgraded the power cells and the lockers, and there's so many things to upgrade. And so, for instance, like the power cells, if you start upgrading them, you're gonna lose power for a while, which isn't too bad. But I just wanted more space. I wanted to be able to upgrade and then go back. And so the stairs, I was like, how the heck do you work these things? And so Andrew ended up showing me.
Stairs are hard.
I mean, yeah. Do you know what? They are.
Nice, Liz.
What was that?
That was my headset. My expensive headset you just threw on the ground.
Stairs are hard, okay?
You didn't even apologize.
I'm sorry. Do you know what? You set this up. You had this cord wrapped around. We were talking about this before we started the podcast. And do you know what? Let's leave it on here, okay? You had one cord wrapped under the chair, and you're like yanking at the cord, and then you have one wrapped around your armrest. Listen, this isn't my station, okay? Okay? You need to fix yourself.
It's not even a station. It's a corner of the room. I can't
As
wait till we
I
move.
was saying, the stairs.
The Massachusetts in Liz just came out so hard.
Wait, did I have an accent?
Oh, you did at the end there.
Nah.
You ramped yourself all the way up to it.
Oh, man. People sometimes say that I have one, but I don't hear it myself.
It's not
hear
all
it
the
from-
time, but you worked yourself into it. You got so fired up at Andrew that you got yourself worked into it. That was excellent.
Oh,
So what were you saying,
boy.
Liz? Stairs?
Yeah, so like the stairs
So
at the
stairs
top.
are hard.
All the rocks, like the different colors and stuff, I could never remember like what I had unlocked. And so like I didn't realize too, like I had to match the up. I mean, I eventually have like I ended up getting like 2 or 3 stories or something. I figured it out with Andrew's help. But this type of game, I ask a lot of questions, and that really irritates Andrew. Like Andrew, I don't, not to be mean, but like teaching wise, like if I ask you a question, you give me an answer, like, I don't understand. You just repeat yourself over and over and over again, the same thing that you told me. I'm like,
Because I don't know how to explain it any simpler. I'm like, click the
But,
dude.
like-
You're like, what do you mean? Click the dude. What do you mean? Click
But there's like
the
50
dude.
dudes,
Like, I don't
and
know
he's
what's happening.
like, there's 50 dudes, and like the thing isn't
So click 'em.
working. No,
I don't know how to explain it otherwise. Click the dude. And you're like, what do you mean? I
lot of
tried.
dudes.
I'm just saying, and sometimes you don't like to help, and sometimes you're bad at helping.
There's also a lot of times where I say, turn left, and you go right. You do that so many times.
There's also times where you tell yourself
my
not to
left,
jump
your
off
left.
of things, and you still jump off of things. So
Yeah. But you know what? I'm like that in real life too, which is kind of scary. But yeah.
This is why I mostly do the driving.
No, see, I have never. So I worked with someone who used to, like, if she would panic while driving, she would slam on the gas instead of the brake. I've never done that. You know, there are people that are like that. But it's just like, yeah, I do, like, you know.
I'm looking at almost 40 minutes of this episode. We've barely talked about this game.
I mean, it's kind of a simple
It is.
game-ish.
Oh, well, Keith, you never talked. Do you think this game needed more tutorial?
not really. I don't think so because I picked up from where I started this game and I played it for I think maybe 20 minutes or so when it got released on Game Pass back in December. So there was like at least, I don't know, 25, 30 minutes worth of mechanics that I had to like remember and get back into. But no, I think overall it wasn't. I didn't fully understand the schemes and how to do. Like, I knew how to select them and everything, but I felt like they just weren't ever finishing, and I couldn't do more, but it wanted me to do more. It'd be like, you need to go find this person, so go do this. And be like, but you can't because you have another scheme, and if you do another one, everything's going to burn down. I'm obviously probably being very dramatic, but
A little exaggeration, yeah.
but otherwise, yeah, I don't know. I kind of agree with you where I guess I felt like just playing around with the mechanics, nothing was overly complicated, but there was a lot. And you kind of could micromanage the minions, which I thought was cool that you didn't have to. but you could, in terms of like, you could focus on even to the level of like being a builder only, or, you know, only building items versus like rooms and stuff like that. So I thought that was actually kind of cool that you could very micromanage this game if you wanted to.
I kind of wanted to touch on what you're talking about with schemes, because when I was playing, when I was talking about space earlier, like for instance, a control room, like you constantly need more broadcast, and I wasn't researching that, so I had like a ton of those machine things. But I was constantly trying to scout and stuff, because that's where you get like a ton of money. So I would make sure they had a bunch of schemes going on, and then if something came up objective wise, I could cancel the scheme and not worry about it financially. So like I made it a point to try to get like the whole map really early, because I just knew that it would be more money. And then also like with the scheme, sometimes it would pop up in multiple locations. So for me, like that's why I paused a lot when I was doing the world map, because I was really organizing that. Honestly, probably more than I should have. I probably should have focused on my base a little bit more. But like, yeah, so for me, I actually found the scheming part actually really easy.
Yeah, I thought it's very simple. It's first very confusing at first, because this is another kind of complaint I have a little bit with Evil Genius 2. I think this game was more designed for PC, and it was just kind of ported over to the Xbox. It works well enough, I should say, but there's some things that irritate me. One of them is kind of when you look at the world map, it's very hard to see the symbols, but you definitely could tell that it was like designed for you to just put your mouse cursor over and it quickly tell you what it is. But you can look, and they do slightly have symbols. It's just hard to see. And then another thing that irritated me, I've tried numerous times, looked at the controller layout, and I can't figure it out. You are constantly given notifications. Your PA system will say something like, a trap activated on floor 1. You are being attacked. There's a fire going on. And you'll see on the bottom right of your screen that there's these notifications, but you can't click on them. And so,
Yeah.
I think it was clearly designed for PC that you could click on them and it would teleport you to, where that announcement happened, but you can't do it on the console. I tried numerous ways to figure out a way to click on it, and I can't.
I also think too they need to have an auto rebuild for all machines.
They do. Yes, that's a quality of life thing. So this is something
Wait,
they don't
they do?
explain. If you click on an item that you've built, there is a button. It's a toggle button that says, have your minions replace this if it gets destroyed.
No, I said all machines.
Yes.
On your base.
Well, that's what I mean. I think in console or PC, I think you might be able to click and drag and like select multiple things.
Oh, because
I don't know. I didn't play on PC.
You were helping me with that, because I originally started and then I just kind of got lazy with it, because you're building so much
Yeah,
stuff.
it's a
So
lot
you
of
went
clicking to
through
do.
and did like the important stuff, because like I had in the tutorial, I think they had you do this where you have the power supply like right near the entrance.
Yep.
And so it was constantly targeted. It was constantly on fire. So you went through and were doing them individually. But yeah, if they just had like an auto, because if something's destroyed, you obviously need it. So even if it's a research thing, like just let me be able to do that eventually.
Yeah.
You remind me of one really irritating quality of life thing that I noticed, which was if you selected something, say to like move it, if you wanted to move another one, you had to fully deselect the first item. You couldn't just click on the next one. Or if it was like multiple agents were coming into your base, you couldn't click on one, select an action, click on the other one. No, you had to click, select, deselect, click on the other one. Super minor, not that bad, but I think more so with the building is where it was super inconvenient, especially if you had like a very well built out base and you're trying to move a room 8 blocks to the left. It's like, well, here goes 5 minutes of this.
Yeah.
See, I had more trouble with the agents with that, because it's something that I just could not get the hang of. And like I said, I put in 17 hours and I was still doing that up until like we just started recording. I was playing before we were recorded. And yeah, I just never got used to it. I kept being like, oh crap, now I gotta start over with the agents.
I will say one thing that really kind of annoyed me and got on my nerves is the music and the sound effects in this game.
The money, the ching.
No, just so the music, there's like 2 or 3 soundtracks, and it's honestly glorified elevator music. It's very monotonous. And then, like I said, 90% of the time, I am playing on the fastest speed, and all your minions sound like chipmunks. So you're just constantly hearing these weird kind of squirrely noises, especially when you're in a casino and the minions singing. It's really kind of annoying.
It didn't
Can't you
bother
turn
me.
them off?
You can. I mean, honestly, I will say, I just honestly didn't use a headset. Like I said, this was my editing game. So I was normally listening to our podcast and editing it, and would like pause in between and stuff in order to do some things in this game.
I feel like I would need it because I felt like the writing was really small on the bottom.
It is.
I mean,
the
I could
PA system's
read it,
helpful.
but yeah, I definitely needed to hear with this game, I think. But I kind of blocked it all out, you know?
Yeah, because it's elevator music. I thought it was
why.
very generic.
I don't remember. I remember like the noise of the casino, and the voice of the head bad guy, Maximilian. But besides that, I don't remember any of them.
Or any of them. Anytime you select or moved your minion or your genius, he would always kind of say something. Same with your henchman. Your henchman would say some things too, but it wasn't.
I don't
too
remember
bad.
anyone saying anything remarkable though that either stood out to me in any way though.
Yeah, the voice acting is just kind of there. It wasn't anything great, but it also wasn't anything bad. I will say I'm currently playing. I think her name's Zelinsky, or Zelika, something like that. She's a genius that has. She's actual like a scientist, but she has a glass dome over her head, and the voice actress actually sounds like she has a glass dome over her head. So every time she's talking, it sounds like she's in a fishbowl.
Wait, I'm sorry. What is she again?
She's like the actual genius. Like she's a scientist. So everyone is kind of based on something. So Ivan is kind of meant to be like the strong guy. Your Maximilian, I think, is meant to be more like a
Tycoon.
yeah, tycoon. Or I don't know. I think it's supposed to be kind of like the valet because he's purple. So it's supposed to be based off like kind of minions. And then the last lady is a secret agent, so she's based off of like your counter agents that you build. They're just meant to be like improved versions of it. But yeah, overall, I did not care for the sound. But it's the pro and a con because, like I said, you can just listen to a podcast or music while playing this game. I don't think it's very necessary. The PA system sometimes helped me, but it didn't bother me too much. But overall, though, graphically, though, it's okay.
I liked it. I thought it was interesting how I think they were the technicians that were always slouching and
Yeah,
like
they always look
sad.
depressed.
But yeah, it was kind of. I don't even know how to describe it.
I mean,
I'm
Keith-
thinking about the body bags and like the different builds of the characters, and it reminds me of a style. And I can't think.
I
of it.
mean, I didn't think about it until Keith, you mentioned it earlier, but it does remind me a lot of the art style of Despicable Me and like the Minions and Gru and like how the humans are in that, where they kind of have stick legs, but maybe a bigger upper torso. It actually reminds me of the art style of Despicable Me.
Yeah, everyone's just kind of goofy looking. Yeah, that was my thought. But I thought it was fine. I liked the overall, and I know I've said it, but at least now as it applies to graphics, I liked the way that the grid was built out for building rooms. It felt easy to use without like needing to have a direct line grid or feeling super blocky. It felt fluid and I don't know, easy to use at the same time.
Yeah, everything is built on a grid shape. But yeah, when you, like you said, like when you're not in the build screen, it actually looks good. Like it actually looks like
I think it's because of the 3D aspect of it, because you have like aspects versus just looking at it from a top-down build. It makes it feel a little bit more real.
And I like when you start building on different floors and different layers of your mansion, of your secret lair. But I also like there is a camera view where you can actually see like your island from the ocean. And it's pretty cool looking. It actually kind of feels like it would be an evil lair.
Does it really start to change a lot as you progress, or does it always look the same from the outside?
It's the same. It looks the same from the outside, which I thought was a little disappointing because you start to build your Doomsday device bigger and bigger on different floors. And I thought it'd been cool to see it like maybe sticking out. But
yeah,
no,
that's what I was thinking.
There are different maps you can pick when you start a new game. Like I think there's 4 layers you can pick from.
Okay.
I noticed that when you were playing.
Yeah.
But I want to point out when I was playing, you would always make comments about how I was making my corridors too big. And they were actually standard. And the reason why it's supposed to be that width is because traps don't work if they're smaller. So I just wanted to point that out real quick.
I made mine
to have thin layers.
I made mine 2 blocks. Was that?
Yeah, that was generally what I do. I would do 2. No, the standard according to Liz is 4.
No,
so
because
traps
when
can
you
fit.
start with the original corridor, it was, I forget what width it was, but that if you keep going it the entire time, you can use any of the traps that I uncovered. Like you can use those with them. But when Andrew told me to do the smaller ones, because I was building on different layers and I thought that agents were coming from one of the top layers, so I started putting other traps. And I followed Andrew's advice and I was like, oh no, I need to redo all the corridors. So there is a reason.
Sorry.
Well, I
Don't
guess
ask me
that's why I
questions.
didn't-
Don't ask for my help here, you know?
I guess that's why I didn't use traps, because I was using... I had, like, my main hallway that I started with was, like, a 4-block, because, yeah, that's what it starts you with. And I was like, this is using way too much space. That's prime real estate. I'm going to make it 2 lanes.
I mean, that's a good point. But I also think, too, like, thinking about what you were saying about, like, not even just comical, but just, like, showing the difference in the characters. With the different, like, muscle men. Like, they have, like, someone who does karate. Like, the animations could have been a bit more, you know, I feel... And same with, like, the guns. I couldn't even, like, tell, like, who was shooting half the time. So I felt like with that, too, graphically, it could have been done a little bit better. The regular guards, I mean, those were, like, the big, muscly men. I don't know why I'm imitating it to you, Andrew.
I know. like you had to interpret,
But
you know, big muscles.
Those I
But you
could
don't
definitely
have.
tell. But, yeah, they... Rude!
What
But
did you say to me?
yeah, you're being rude to yourself. But yeah, so for me, I felt like they could have done a bit more to differentiate, especially because if you had a bunch of agents coming at once, which happened a lot, it was just a cluster of people. Even zooming in, I'm just like, I wish there was a way that I could tell.
Oh, yeah. It does turn into just
I
a
don't
big
see a
old mesh
martial
of people.
artist. I just see people punching and
And a lot of chipmunk noises.
yeah. So I feel like they could have done a bit better with that. But I like the graphics.
I get that. Liz, don't listen real quick. Just real quick. Andrew, just mark down
Aaron!
that... yeah, I mix them up sometimes. But Andrew, just mark down that Liz won more violence in this game. So just put that
No,
on the record.
I just wanted...
No, it's fine. You weren't listening, Liz. It's fine. We're going on to the next thing.
It's more artistic. But you
Oh,
know,
she really
but
just wanted to
Kate,
see
you know
the
what? I
violence.
think like you only like just got past the tutorial, so you probably didn't get that far to see the martial artists and to see the mercenaries and to see the hitmen and the different muscle men.
She wanted more muscle men without shirts.
Oh,
They
well, I
they
guess
all
there's
had
that too.
shirts.
I know, and you wish
Yeah,
they
you're
did.
very disappointed that they had shirts on.
But I think overall that I enjoyed. They're not super easy to get, but the achievements. I think the achievements are actually pretty solid in this game.
I mean, I like them, but there were so few. So like looking at it, so I got 27 out of 90, 27 achievements, and I only got 230. And then Keith, you got 11 with a score of 55, and then Andrew 67 with 645.
I like how quiet you said that. Score 635.
I mean, she's doing me a favor by hiding it, so thank you, Liz.
Oh wait, I did yours quiet. I meant to
Yeah,
do Keith's
no.
quiet. I was trying to hide his shame.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. You did his quiet.
I thought you said I did yours.
But I will say, I think the achievements are pretty good because when you're first playing it, it's definitely giving you a bunch of little ones. They're all worth, majority of them are worth like 5 gamer score, not worth a bunch. But there's a good section of them that, you know, as Keith was saying when we were talking about the traps, that they teach you how to combo the traps with the achievements. So there's one called Sting Like a Bee, where you have to have a punching bag punch somebody into a group of bees. You know, then there's one where it
good job.
says, it was in the trailer, and you get a fan, blow someone into an icicle, and then end up dunking into a shark tank. Like, it has you create these intricate trap systems for achievements. And I actually thought they were really fun, but overall they were actually pretty easy to do as well.
I was gonna say real quick on the traps, like that's where I felt like they were trying to be funny, but it's like I don't know, the gameplay overall isn't funny, but those little aspects are like, oh, it's supposed to be kind of cheeky, but I don't know.
But yeah, the traps also too, like as I said earlier, they have friendly fire, so they sometimes can hurt your minions. But yeah, as like in every achievement too, there's specific achievements for each of the evil geniuses. So if you play as Ivan, he has an ability where he pulls out a rocket launcher. So you have to kill 50 enemies with the rocket launcher, which is actually really kind of annoying to do. You know, Liz was playing Maximilian. He had to get 20 gold statues into his lair.
Which was really easy.
Yeah.
But I wish that there's some were like just bigger or worth more. Like for instance, like when you scout the entire world, I just like I don't know. There's just some achievements I just like. Oh, I just wish they were worth a little bit more.
Oh, there are some that are
Because-
worth a little more.
I know, but like I'm just saying, with the amount of time that I put into the game, getting 230, it's just like
Well, you also put a lot of time in because you were paused a lot.
okay, true, but also I still like even if you get rid of the pausing, I still put a lot of time into the game.
You did. But as far as time to beat goes for Evil Genius 2, you're looking to do like your first run through of the story is about 29 hours. You're looking to if you look to complete everything, you're probably looking between 48 hours. So yeah, it's not a very long game, but you know if you get more efficient, you can actually do this game pretty quickly. But getting to our final thoughts here, though. for me, like I said, I think Evil Genius is a game. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's very simple. I didn't feel like I had to constantly just handle every single aspect. You're not dealing with a lot of charts and graphs. There are some you can look at, but when it comes to base building games, you have to look at like, oh, how's your income and your expenses going? Like, are you in the black? Are you in the red? How many employees do you have? This game is not that intricate. To me, it's a very kind of simple base builder. I wish it went more heavy into the comedy aspect. It seemed like, some things kind of made me chuckle, but I don't know. I thought it would have been better if it would just went real into goofy. But overall, though, I thought, the gameplay got a little tedious. Even switching to other Evil Geniuses, it didn't change too much of the formula and the gameplay going on. But you know what? I like what's here. Like, I'm still not sick of it, and I've put in quite a bit of hours to it. For me, this is an 85.
Well, now I feel like my score is weird because I definitely liked the game, and I think I would actually recommend it in terms of a good sit down and play it single player game. I think that I know I get made fun of for this, but I like that the way that the save works in it is it doesn't have to be at set times. You can literally in the middle of dialogue, well, I guess the very short dialogues between you and a minion or something you can't, but just about any other time you can just save the game, quit it. Even the way quick resume works on the Series S and X, it's actually, I don't know, just you could pretty much quit and pick and put down the game at any given moment you wanted to. But overall, because I'm not big on builder games, the accessibility and the simplicity to it is something that really just made it nice for me. I didn't have to, and I don't know, maybe this is what you were saying, Andrew, is I had to worry about my income and having enough gold, but that was really about it. There wasn't a ton of different resources that I was worried about where I was going to go to collect them and how I was going to make sure I had enough of things. I just built, and I did what I needed to do, and I could reconstruct and reconfigure. That said, I don't know. I thought I was being gracious with an 83 because I didn't like it nearly as much as you did, Andrew. But 83 is what I was going to go with. I was also going to say it was 00 fine. I just don't know what that. I don't know how to really link that to a number.
I accept that joke. That's a pretty good one.
So I was going to give it an 88, and I felt bad. I felt like it was kind of low, but now I'm like, oh, I guess it wasn't. Series X, there's not a lot on Metacritic, 79 and 6.6, and Xbox One, TBD, and the scores that I saw were 80, 81, and 9. And any guesses on our fourth and seventh co-host?
Ooh.
I sure hope so. Oh, wait, he does out of 10?
Yeah.
I was gonna say 0.
1.
I'm thinking. I was gonna say 1, but I'll go with 2 because I think there's a French translation for this game.
Ooh, touche. But all of the characters are Russian or German. I thought. I'm still sticking with my 1.
0.
We were too hopeful for him.
So he said, and this is just a Google translation, so sorry if it's not perfect, but the first Evil Genius was an old PC game that was already completely moldy and stank severely from the beak and the rest. This sequel, unmolded so long after, was also released on modern consoles, and it's a big shit from the start. The interface in particular needs to be completely reviewed and takes no account of the, oh my gosh, this is hard. My tongue doesn't work this way. Specificities.
Good job.
Can you guys say that?
Specificities.
Specificities?
Okay, just brag, why don't you? And limitations of the controller. The game is therefore unplayable and unbelievably cumbersome. Developers are well aware of this. They who shamelessly offer a mouse keyboard option on the console, as if we were playing on a console to piss off with a keyboard on our knees. And the mouse, we put it where? How that in his ass.
Has he not heard of a table?
I know. Can you not play with the table?
It's also a question mark and exclamation.
I could just see this guy plugging in a mouse and keyboard, be like, "Well, where do I put them? I don't get this."
What did he type this review with? Does he not have a mouse and keyboard? Did he type this with his controller?
I tried so hard.
I'm very confused. I have so many questions.
Anyway, this big crap is as stupid as the first part, from which it came with a dubious, hysterical, buffoonish humor. Even worse, and a deficient management, not to say unmanageable, hence the boredom so dense that it is cut with a knife when trying to play this, it's a French word, dubasse. So you just have to flush over it and basta.
You probably just said like one of the worst French swears.
I'm trying Duolingo with Spanish, and I haven't tried French. I tried French a little bit on Duolingo, and I was like, I'm going to start with Spanish because I tried that in school. It's easier. French is just a whole different ball game.
But I actually have two quick and another things I forgot to mention. So we haven't done this in a while because I feel like we have not played a game that actually had it, but this game has DLC. So I think it's $20 to get the season pass. As far as DLC goes, there's actually 2 free DLC, and both of them are Steam inspired. The first one, you can get the Pyromaniac from Team Fortress 2. You can get him as a henchman. And then there's a Portal 2 DLC that's also free, which gives you, I think, just some cosmetics. I don't think it was anything too substantial. But there are some paid DLCs. You can get a 5th evil genius, as I said, who comes with her own special lair. She has her own special powers, and I think her own story as well. And then there's some other minor things, some extra henchmen you can get, some cosmetics to make your minions look like robots, kind of basic stuff. Overall, the DLC, though, wasn't too bad, and it all looked like the most expensive was the story expansion to get the 5th genius, and I think it was like $15. So not a bad value, honestly.
Are you going to get it?
Honestly, I was a little tempted, but I don't know, probably not. I'm cheap. But and then the other thing is I also recommend this game for xCloud. I will say there is an issue I had with xCloud. This game is its autosave is pretty good, but it's an easy game to save. So for me, this is great to kind of quickly pop in, work on my base a little bit, save, sign out, easy. I was getting a glitch. If something screwed up in my game and I reloaded a previous save when I was mid-game, my right stick wouldn't work anymore. It was weird. It would read command of me clicking my right stick, but I couldn't move the camera anymore, and I couldn't use the right stick to like select things. It was a weird glitch, but it only happened to me when I played on xCloud. But little minor things. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for us. So thank you all so much for joining us. If you have any game suggestions, please email us at gamepassgraphic@gmail.com or reach out to us on our Facebook and Twitter at GBGBpod. We love to hear from you all. And please, we'd love you if you take the time to give us a review on Spotify or iTunes or wherever you listen to this podcast. We greatly appreciate it. I've been your hardcore gamer host, Andrew. You can find me on Xbox Live at Firebird01952. And sorry for all the random tangents this episode.
I have no apologies. None whatsoever. I'm not here to apologize. I'm here to give the people what they want.
Roguelikes.
I'm pretty sure there's at least 2 or 3 more I could dig up. So
there's literally like 2 or 3 more. Like we've played almost every single roguelike on Game Pass.
And I've probably played the ones that we haven't recorded.
You definitely have. It was Dandy Ace, which I know you've played.
Yep.
And Loot River. That was another one you played.
Dreamscaper. Played that one.
Yep, that was another one.
Played a good chunk of Dreamscaper, actually.
Oh,
anyways,
gosh.
I've been Keith.
And I'm Liz the Noob, gamertag Commandant Dean, and I'm on Twitter at Liz Noob. Noob is EW.
Thank you all so much for joining us. We love you all. We'll see you again next week.
Bye, guys.